Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Christine with Patter Crafts, and today I'll be making 5 cards using the Flavor of the Month card kit for June 2019. The theme for June is Under the Sea Babies. Generally, I make just 4 cards, one from each one of the collections to showcase on reveal week, but this week, the little banana split pouch that you get, I had to use. So I did make a 5th card this month, and that card will be using just the ingredients from the banana split portion of the card kit. So for this first card, I am using sketch number 1. Sketch number 1 has some great pattern paper that could really just kind of be a card in and of itself. So I am not really going to be doing a whole lot of stamping. So on this little top part, I did decide to just kind of leave that blue so I could use some of the images that I had colored from the stamp set. But I do decide to just use the dolphin and 2 of the fish, adding a couple of the enamel dots that are found in this collection. And on the inside, I am going to stamp the sentiment, sending oceans of thanks. And then I'll be using that little smaller fish and the oyster shell with the pearl in it. I'm going to save the mermaid for another card. I just feel like it was already busy enough and she's kind of big and didn't really fit on this card, since I really wanted to showcase that little turtle that's on the pattern paper because it's just so cute. Adding a little bit of washi tape that we find in this collection to the bottom there, and that is card number 1. Card number 2 is using collection number 2. Collection number 2 is called Neon Sea Life. So we have the stamp set here from Sunny Studio Stamps, and the paper is Neon Sea Life, and that is by Scrapping for Less. This is the only card in the video that I will be doing coloring. I did try to stamp out, color, and cut out the images before I started the video, just so it wouldn't be so long with all of the coloring. So my thought for the circle, which is, I guess I would say it's like the main focal point of sketch number 3. I wanted to have tons of these little octopi, like they're kind of hanging out for like a picture, like a little group of friends. So I cut out 3 masks using just some Post-it. It's the full adhesive Post-it, so the whole piece will stick down. So I'm just stamping randomly all these little octopi, and then I'm going to go ahead and color them in with Copic markers. I apologize that I did not zoom in for the coloring, because I did zoom out to cut the paper and to get the front part of the card mostly done, and then I forget to zoom in when I do the coloring. So the ink that I was using, I found was starting to smear. For whatever reason, it was starting to feel a little dry, so I stored it upside down, and now it's super juicy, and I have to give it a few minutes to dry. So I don't know if anyone else has found that with their ink pads, but that was not necessarily what I wanted when I started coloring some of these images, was to have it smear. So I did give this one a little bit more time to dry. So most of my panels are already cut and they're going to be ready to go. So I'm just going ahead and coloring in each little octopus with a variety of different colors. I did try to have most of the colors match the paper, and I will have the list of the Copics I used down in the description below. I apologize that my head keeps making an appearance in the video. It wasn't as zoomed in as I thought it was. So I do add a couple little bright colors here. I do use this kind of neon looking green and a super bright yellow. I just thought it'd be a fun little pop of color so that they all kind of stood out a little bit on their own. So I'm pretty much using 2 to 3 colors for each one. There's a couple that I use more than 2 on, but that's mostly just because the first 2 colors I picked out were so close together, there wasn't a lot of contrast. So once they were all colored, I went and grabbed a darker color, so like a darker pink, a darker blue, a darker green, and so forth. And I'm just going to kind of add like some little dots all around them to give them a little bit of texture. Have them be a little more interesting. So there's a close-up of the coloring. And now that that is all done, I'm going to go ahead and put my card together. I just loved that pattern paper. It was so cute. So the fun thing about card sketches is they're pretty simple to get put together, but you can kind of create them to be your own. So sometimes I'll start with a card sketch and then I just kind of, it's like a starting point, but it might not always be what happens when I'm done. Things might get changed around. So using the sentiment, see you soon on the inside, and then with some light gray ink, I'm stamping the little octopus again with some bubbles. Put a little bit of strip of that pattern paper at the bottom. Then I'm going to add a little bit of white gel pen, and of course I'm going to bring in my Wink of Stella. You'll notice in the, well, not quite the upper left, but maybe the upper left of that middle panel, the little wooden seashell, that does come in the kit. So I added that for a little embellishment right there. So there is card number 2. Moving on to card number 3. This one's fun. It has a stamp set from Hero Arts that has these little otters on it. But some of the paper had seahorses, so this one I had to get a little bit more creative with as far as what papers, because I really like the seahorse paper, but I didn't really think the otters went with it. So I am kind of trying to save that for a different card. So for this card, I am using sketch number 4. So I'm cutting down all of my pieces here. Now on the sketch, there's like a little strip underneath, like this little middle, that little middle strip, that's the red. I just thought I'd add a little bit of interest by just having my black mat underneath be fun. So I used a stitched scallop die, like a bordered die for underneath there for that little strip. You could use washi, you could use a piece of pattern paper, but I just thought it would be fun just like that. So I'm stamping the greeting on the inside. This is "You are utterly amazing," adding the little otter. And then on the outside, I put the otter like where the oval is on the sketch. And I used some of that, trying to think of what that's called, that mesh for the otter to stay on. And then that finishes up that card. And I'm sorry, that collection is called Sea Creatures. So for collection 4, this collection's called Sea Babies, and it has a stamp set called Sea Babies by Scrapping for Less, and it is the Sea Babies pattern paper from Scrapping for Less. I am using sketch number 2, and we're going to go ahead, and I'm just not really measuring. I'm just kind of guesstimating with a pencil or a pen right there where I want to cut the paper. Sometimes this, actually I shouldn't say sometimes, a lot of times this works better for me than trying to measure each piece individually. I don't know why, it's just how I do it. So I'm using some of the busier paper on the outside and then this like purple and polka dot on the inside. So on this particular sketch, you got 3 different strips on the bottom. There's kind of one that goes across the middle, which I'm using, again, another piece of pattern paper, that little squiggly line one, and I cut out the, like, what is it, 3 of the colors, and I'm using that for the strip. Adding the larger turtle and the smaller seahorse to the outside of this card. using the sentiment Life's a Journey from the stamp set, and then adding the smaller turtle and the larger seahorse on the inside, adding a strip of pattern paper. And that is pretty much it for card number 4. So for the last card, I just take out the banana split portion of it. I wanted to use these watercolor papers, and I thought this was great. So this little octopus is actually going to be a die that you will get in your kit. The die wasn't ready when the design team members received their kits, so we did get a cutout of it, but yours will have the die, and this is what the cutout will look like. I think it's great. I love the size. I love how you can have the little indented polka dots, and then you have the ones that just come completely out. So also for the banana split, you get to try some Daniel Smith extra fine watercolors. We have 6 different colors. We have some different greens and blues, and there's one in the bottom middle, and I'm sorry, I don't have the names of them right here, but I'll include it in the description below. It's kind of more of like a purpley, like a dark purpley black color. So I decided I was going to use the different greens for the bottom, kind of like the bottom of the ocean. Then I'm using the different blues above that, and then trying to add some of that darker color around the edges, and then just kind of making some shadows and stuff. So just kind of playing around with that. Once that's done, I go ahead and grab the sentiment from the stamp set that's included with the banana split level. I just love that font. The ocean's roar is music to the soul. Add my little octopus, and we are good to go. If you liked this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more and you're not already, please hit that subscribe button. If you'd like more information on the kit, there'll be a link in the description below. Have a great day or night. Bye.